We're on a job here. We're going to go ahead and replace the evaporator. And this old girl here, she's about 22 years old. And anyway, the evaporator's been leaking pretty bad for this customer. So what we're going to do first is to go ahead and pump the system down, and then we'll go ahead and get started with this thing. So that's what we're gonna do now. This is an old R22 equipment. The process to pump a system down, you know, an R22 straight AC system, is to go ahead and shut down one of the lines, which is a smaller, thinner line. This guy here, as you can see, that's pulled in all the way. And then this one, you want to go ahead and this is the line that the refrigerant is going to come back into the compressor. So the reason you shut that one off is because you don't want any of the refrigerant to go back up through the small 3/8 line into the evaporator. So that way it forces all the refrigerant that's inside the evaporator line set into the compressor, so that we can go ahead and save whatever little bit of refrigerant that we have in the system. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and keep an eye on the gauge. Okay, let me do a little scenario here. What we have is a leak. We don't know if it's in the new evaporator that we put in, which is this, or is it the line set. So what we're doing, we're looping the line set to each other. We shut off the refrigerant, we pump it down to the condenser, and then so now what we're going to do, this is the evaporator and this is the evaporator line. I'm going to braze these guys together. We have a Schrader here, which is out, and then I'm going to go ahead and pump these both up with nitrogen, and we have a clock. Yeah, what we're going to do now, we did the line set, which is this. That's going to the outside unit. You can see it's looped as one piece. So now this is brazed in, and it has a Schrader also, and it's brazed in to the evaporator. And so now what we want to eliminate one or the other. Somebody is leaking, but we don't know because the line set, we can't follow it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hook up and pump some nitrogen into this evaporator side. And by the way, all the brazing that I did is okay. I checked them before I did anything, and I got the new Schrader inside there. Now we're going to go ahead and pump this guy up. And this is nitrogen that we're using. Then we're going to leave this on here.
As you can see, it's climbing. There's quite a bit of pressure that we have on that guy. All right, all those are tight. Double check. Okay, you want to take video of this, and what I'm going to do is mark it there. And I'm going to mark both of them. And we're going to put a new mark on this guy because we took the gauges off, you know, from downstairs. And then this one we know we don't have. Okay.
Earlier this week, we went ahead and because the gentleman here at the homeowner had some leaks, and so we knew the evaporator was leaking, but we had no idea what else was leaking. And so once we put the evaporator in and vacuumed it down and, you know, added the refrigerant and all that kind of good stuff, he lost his refrigerant and he called me back. And so what we did in the other video was that we looped the line set and the copper line set, the 3/8 and the 3/4. These guys here upstairs in the attic. And then we went ahead and added nitrogen to them. And unfortunately, his line set is leaking really bad. The new evaporator was fine. So now what we're going to do is to determine whether this condenser you know, has any leaks in it or not. It does show some trails of oil down toward the bottom. I don't know if that's showing up or not, but down there it's really oily, and it had a little bit of refrigerant earlier when I went ahead and dumped the little bit of refrigerant into the unit. However, after I came here this morning and you know, proceeded to do this to the outside unit, you know, very little refrigerant came out. So right now it's just empty. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pump it up. As you can see, I have a gauge on there. I haven't added the refrigerant yet. And I went ahead and put in this straighter here and brazed in the 3/8 line and the 3/4 line there. And so now I'm going to go ahead and add some refrigerant to it. Excuse me, not refrigerant, but nitrogen, which, you know, which one I have here, just to make the record straight. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get that put on, and then we'll see what happens. I don't know if that's going to show up or not.
not. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and shut it off, and then we'll go ahead and add the nitrogen to it. Then we'll come back and we'll show, you know, the pressure on here, and then we're gonna go ahead and mark it, and come back in a few days and see if we lose any nitrogen. Well, the nitrogen's going in. You can see the gauges are climbing. And likewise over here on this guy. And I think we're gonna go ahead and put in about 400 pounds in it. Okay, I think that's about right. So anyway, I'll go ahead and double check for any kind of leaks or anything with some bubble soap, and just to make sure that none of my brazing has leaking. Appears to be okay. Well, that concludes it. We're going to go ahead and mark that exactly where it's at. And I'm going to go inside. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to go ahead and alert the customer that I'm here, or been here, and that, you know, to keep an eye on it. And then, you know, to keep any rain or anything off, what I'm going to do is, you know, put a cover on it like that, so everything should be fine. All right, stay tuned. We'll see what happens.